I stared at my acceptance letter to the London School of Economics, my hands trembling. This was my dream. But I already knew what would happen when I showed it to my parents. In our Indian family, there was only one acceptable path: medicine. Just like my father, his father, and my older sister Priya. What is this nonsense? My father's voice boomed through our living room as he scanned the letter, his face darkening with each word. Business school. Economics? Have you lost your mind, Arun? My mother sat quietly in the corner, wringing her hands in that familiar way she did when conflict brewed. The evening sun cast long shadows across our living room, where countless family photos showed 3 generations of doctors in pristine white coats. I want to build something of my own, Dad. Create businesses, help entrepreneurs. Entrepreneurs? He spat the word like it was poison. You want to throw away our family legacy to become what? A shopkeeper? Your sister is already a successful surgeon. Why can't you follow her path? I took a deep breath, steadying myself. Because it's not my path. I've never wanted to be a doctor. You've known this since I was 12. Known what? That you prefer to waste time with your silly business ideas. That startup club you waste time with at school. He crumpled my acceptance letter, tossing it aside. No son of mine will become a common businessman. You will apply to medical school, or what, Dad? His eyes turned to steel. Or you are no longer my son. No more tuition, no more support. You'll be cut off completely. My mother finally spoke, her voice barely a whisper. Please, Beta, listen to your father. Medicine is a noble profession. Think of the family name. I looked around the room, at the family photos, the medical degrees lining the walls, the expectations weighing down every inch of space. For 18 years, I tried to fit myself into their mold, but I couldn't do it anymore. I'm sorry, I said, picking up my crumpled acceptance letter. But I'm going to London. Then get out, my father roared, pointing to the door. Don't come back until you've come to your senses. I climbed the stairs to my room one last time, packing what I could into a single suitcase. As I walked up the front door, I heard my mother crying softly. My father stood rigid, arms crossed, watching his disappointment of a son walk away. I had $3,000 saved from my part-time job at a tech startup and a dream that burned brighter than their disappointment. That night, I slept on my best friend Dev's couch, my acceptance letter clutched to my chest. The next morning, my sister Priya called. Mom and Dad told me what happened. Are you really choosing this over family? I'm choosing myself, Priya, for once in my life, she sighed. You're making a huge mistake, little brother. Without family support, without their connections, you'll fail. Come home, apologize, apply to medical school. It's not too late. I ended the call, knowing it would be years before I spoke to any of them again. 2 weeks later, I boarded a flight to London with my savings, 2 suitcases, and an unwavering determination to prove them all wrong. The first year was brutal. I worked 3 jobs: barista in the morning, tutor in the afternoon, warehouse worker at night, just to afford a tiny room in a shared flat. Between shifts, I threw myself into my studies, determined to top every class. But it was during my barista shifts that I noticed something: countless busy professionals wasting their mornings in line for coffee. That's when the idea hit me. What if there was an app that let them pre-order, pay, and skip the line? I spent 6 months developing a prototype, learning to code from YouTube videos during my brief breaks between work and study. By my second year, my app Skipline had caught the attention of a small tech incubator. They offered me seed funding, enough to quit my jobs and focus on the business full-time. I lived on instant noodles and worked 18-hour days, but Skipline was growing. Then came the breakthrough. A major coffee chain wanted to pilot Skipline in their London locations. The day we launched, I stood in the corner of their busiest store, watching people walk in, grab their pre-ordered drinks, and leave with smiles on their faces. My simple idea was actually making lives better. Word spread. More chains signed up. Venture capitalists started calling. By graduation, Skipline was operating in 3 countries, and I had raised $10 million in funding. My tiny flat became a real office with a growing team of developers and sales staff. Every time we expanded to a new city, I thought about calling home. Every time we hit a new milestone, I drafted emails to my parents that I never sent. Their words still echoed in my head. You'll fail without us. But I hadn't failed. Far from it. 5 years after walking out of my parents' house, Skipline had expanded beyond coffee into retail, restaurants, and services. We had millions of users across 12 countries. The company had built from nothing was now valued at over $500 million. I moved from my cramped flat to a penthouse overlooking the Thames, bought my first sports car, started investing in other startups, helping young entrepreneurs like my younger self. But I kept my success quiet. No flashy interviews, no social media posts. I let my work speak for itself. Then came the day that would change everything. A notification popped up on my phone. Skipline was launching in my hometown, partnering with every major restaurant and retailer in the area, including the coffee shop where my parents had their morning ritual. To be continued. I hadn't planned on returning home like this. My private jet touched down at the small regional airport, the Skipline logo gleaming on its tail. Through the window, I could see my hometown sprawling below, unchanged yet somehow smaller than I remembered. The local press is requesting interviews, sir, my assistant Michael said, scrolling through his tablet. They're very interested in the hometown connection, especially since Skipline's launch here has broken all our previous records. I adjusted my custom-tailored suit, a far cry from the worn jeans I'd left in 10 years ago. No interviews, just the standard press release. But I knew it was only a matter of time. In a small town, news travels fast, especially when a local failure returns as a billionaire tech founder. The rumors started within hours of our landing. My sister Priya called first, the first time in nearly a decade. Arun? Her voice wavered. Is it true? Are you the founder of Skipline? I let the silence stretch. Yes. But how? Why didn't you tell us? Mom and Dad, they think about you every day. They still have your photo. The same photo they used to point at while telling everyone how their son betrayed the family. I kept my voice level. How's your medical practice, Priya? She hesitated. I actually quit last year. Burned out. I'm working part-time now, trying to figure out what I really want. That surprised me. Perfect, Priya, questioning her path. I'm sorry to hear that. No, I'm sorry, Arun. You were brave enough to choose your own way. I just followed the blueprint without thinking. Before I could respond, I heard commotion in the background. Our parents' voices. Is that him? Give me the phone. My father's voice, older but still commanding. Arun? Son. My heart clenched at the word son, the title he'd stripped from me a decade ago. Hello, Father. We saw the news. Your company, this Skipline. They're saying it's worth billions. $4.2 billion as of last month's valuation. I said quietly, we're going public next year. Silence. Then my mother's voice, thick with tears. Bida, please. Come home. Let us explain. I'm at the Grand Hotel. I cut in. Room 2401. If you want to talk, come by at 7 p.m. I hung up, staring out the hotel window at the town where I'd once been labeled a failure. My phone buzzed constantly, distant relatives, old classmates, family friends suddenly remembering my existence. I turned it off. At exactly 7 p.m., there was a knock at my suite door. I opened it to find my parents standing there, looking smaller than I remembered. My father's confident posture was gone, replaced by an uncertain slouch. My mother's hair had gone fully gray. Come in, I said, stepping aside. They entered slowly, taking in a luxurious suite with wide eyes. My mother gasped softly at the view of their town from the top floor. Successful businessmen indeed, my father said, attempting a smile. We were wrong, Arun. So wrong. If we had known. Known what? I interrupted. That I'd become rich. That I'd succeed despite you cutting me off. Would that have made my dreams more valid? No, Beta, my mother stepped forward. That you had such strength in you, such vision. I moved to the window, looking down at the busy streets below. 10 years ago, I needed parents. Not critics, not judges, just parents who believed in me. Do you know how many nights I cried myself to sleep that first year in London? How many times I nearly gave up? My father sank into a chair, suddenly looking every bit his age. We were wrong, he repeated. Our pride, our narrow vision of success, we let it blind us. Can you forgive us? I turned to face them. I didn't come back for forgiveness. I came because Skipline is expanding, and this town is part of our growth strategy. That's all. Please, my mother whispered. Give us a chance to be your parents again. I pulled out my phone, opening a photo gallery. This is my office in London, my team, the children's hospital wing I funded last year, the tech academy I started for underprivileged kids. I swiped through the images. All of this I built without your name, your connections, your approval. I needed to prove something, not to you, but to myself. And you have. My father stood up. You've proven us completely wrong. I'm so proud of you, son. Proud? I laughed softly. 10 years too late for that, isn't it? But looking at them, my father's trembling hands, my mother's tear-streaked face, I felt the anger of a decade slowly start to fade. Not because they were sorry now, but because I no longer needed their approval to know my worth. I have a dinner meeting, I said, checking my watch. But maybe we can have breakfast tomorrow. At that coffee shop on Main Street? They use Skipling now, no more waiting in line. My mother's face lit up with hope. My father nodded, eyes glistening. As they turned to leave, my father paused at the door. That hospital wing you built, does it need doctors? I raised an eyebrow. Are you offering? Maybe it's time I learned from my son, he said quietly, about choosing a new path. After they left, I stood at the window watching their car pull away. My phone buzzed. Another notification of Skipline's stock price climbing. In my reflection, I saw not the failure they'd once declared me, but the man I'd chosen to become. Sometimes success isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right, and sometimes, just sometimes, those who once pushed you away can learn to walk beside you on the path you fought so hard to build. The next morning, I watched through the coffee shop window as my parents approached. 10 years ago, I'd left this town with nothing but a dream and determination. Now I was back on my own terms, not as the son who failed to become a doctor, but as the man who succeeded in becoming himself. And maybe, just maybe, that was the greatest success of all.